Feliz Cinco de Magic, everyone. Welcome to Dork Forge. I'm Paul here to level up your 5e game. Hoist your pinatas, toast your tortillas, and utter words of arcane power. Today we have 5 ways to put more magic into your 5th edition character, whether or not they're a spellcaster. So today we're going to be going over a mix of both feats and races that allow you to add some magic into your 5e character. And this is going to work whether or not you're adding more magic to a spellcaster or a half-caster, or whether or not you're playing a non-casting character, such as the majority of rogues and fighters, or maybe even a barbarian, and you want to add in that little bit of magic just to spice up your character and add a bit of utility. So let's get cracking, and first up on the list is the classic Magic Initiate. Now this is a feat, so you're going to be able to pick it up as a variant human at level 1, or trading one of your area size in. It's going to allow you to choose one full caster's spell list, and then you can take 2 cantrips of your choice, which you can use at will, and you can pick one spell that you can cast once a day. So now a good example of this would be adding on to a class that already has casting. If you were, say, a cleric and you took Magic Initiate Druid, then you would be able to have guidance without needing to have it come from your own personal cleric cantrips. And you'd also be able to pick up Shillelagh. Now it would allow you to be a single attribute dependent on melee attacks, providing you use a club or quarterstaff, of course. And it would give you, in this example, 1 free casting of healing word per day. Now you can do similar things with Wizard. Pick a couple extra cantrips up, maybe the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guy's melee cantrips, or Mage Hand if you initially pick Prestidigitation. I think I got close to the pronunciation, who knows? Certainly not me. And then you can also do things like, if you're a wizard, you could pick Shield as your spell. And this works best if you're a variant human. And this allows you to not have to take it as a wizard spell, which frees up your spells now that you're struggling with that as a wizard, and you effectively always have it prepared and always have a casting for free in your back pocket. Otherwise, if you're a rogue, you could pick up something like guidance for your stealth checks and cure wounds to pick up somebody from the party that didn't have the benefit of your uncanny dodge. It's a really versatile feat, and it's one of my favourites for spicing up builds. Next we're going to go into a race choice, and this is Drow or the Half Drow. So Drow is our first example in this list of racial spellcasting. You're going to get Dancing Lights as a cantrip, which is kind of like the light cantrip but requires concentration and has some versatility differences. And then once you hit 3rd level, you're going to be able to cast Fairy Fire once per day. Then once you hit 5th level, you'll be able to cast Darkness once per day. Now, the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide does present us some variant options for the half-elf, meaning that if we trade in our skill versatility, which is a half-elf racial trait giving you 2 free skills of your choice, then you can instead pick up some benefits from whatever your half-elf lineage is. In this case, with a half-drow, you could pick up all of that casting might just for trading in 2 skills that your build might not necessarily need. Now, this does open up the option of down the line taking Drow High Magic, which will give you bonuses like once per day casting of Levitate and at will detect magic. So if you're a Drow and then you take that feat, you actually have quite a substantial amount of casting without any input from a casting class. And as a DM personally, I would allow a half-elf that has taken that Drow variant access to that feat as well, because it just makes good sense. So why not mix up your next character instead of just having all of the skills? Why not mix it up and throw darkness in your party's face every now and then? Cause a little mischief. Now next we have another racial equivalent, the Tiefling. So the Tiefling also gets racial casting, and their cantrip is going to be Thaumaturgy. They're a little bit different in that they get Hellish Rebuke at 3rd level, although they upcast it at 2nd level. And they get Darkness at 5th level just like our Drow. However, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes brought with it like a Tiefling for every possible occasion, situation and taste. If you take a quick look through that book, there is a mixture of not just the different spells that you get, because you can pick up things like Shield, Armor of Agathos, and Smite spells, but you can also end up with like a primary strength Tiefling variant with Smite spells and end up being this kind of like souped up paladin from your race. I mean, you can inject that paladinness into a regular fighter. It's actually pretty crazy. There's so many in there that it really allows a lot of flexibility with your builds as well. If you're looking for a particular mix of magic and you want to try and work it in from a race rather than dipping in a multiclass, say you don't want to, if we take our rogue example, if you don't want to delay your sneak attack progression, then you could definitely probably find a close combination in Modern Canons, just because there are so many variants. I'm just going to throw a quick little note in here as well. If magic isn't your thing, I know this is a magic video, but we're on Tieflings, you can actually trade your magic with the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide for wings instead, which is also pretty cool. But back to more feats, we have Ritual Caster. Now, Ritual Caster is more utility focused and more low key than Magic Initiate. It does not have a class restriction. You basically take this feat again either as a variant human or as an ASI, and you can choose any 2 first level ritual spells of your choice, which you can then cast as a ritual whenever you please. Now, this feat does also give you the ability of learning more ritual spells as you come across them in the world, say from finding a wizard spellbooker's loot or scrolls. If you have a wizard in the party, you could even pick up some rituals from them, which is very good because sometimes you might want to double up on something, say Tensor's floating disc in order to get loot out of there, or maybe your wizard would be incapacitated sometimes or lose access to their spellbook. Some good examples of first level ritual spells to take: Find Familiar for scouting and help action, Unseen Servant because it's a really fun spell, throw a cloak over it, pretend it's a cultist, or Detect Magic. Now, of course, these are rituals, so you are going to have a much longer casting time. I believe you just tack on 10 minutes. So they're not always going to be applicable, but they can add a lot more depth and utility to a character, especially if you've gone for something like the Sage or Hermit background. It really adds some mechanical backing to you having studied so long. Now, our final entry on the list is a little bit different. A little bit weird looking in my opinion. So we're going with the Gith. Now, the Gith does provide us with spellcasting, however it is a form of Psionics, not one I'm particularly fond of, but it is the only official Psionics we have right now. So basically, you're going to have 2 different sub-races of Gith, and depending what sub-race you pick is going to give you different spells. Now, as this is Psionic, you are not going to need components for casting your spells, so you can do so without being observed if you want to cast sneakily, and you can't be counterspelled if you're using your racial ability in the middle of combat. So, as being a Gith overall, both sub-races will get access to an invisible mage hand. And then if you go Gith Yankee, I believe you get Jump and Misty Step, and then Gith Zerai get Shield and Detect Thoughts. Now, these are both really cool because they allow you to throw in that mentalist kind of thing. So if you go Gith and then you say, take 1 level of Great Old One Warlock with some telepathy, you can really build up a psionic feeling character in lieu of any official release psionic materials. Now, you may also get a free red dragon if you go Gith Yankee. I like creating these situations for your DMs because I don't have to deal with them. But that's it for now. While you're here, like this video and comment down below what you think. What are your favourite ways of adding in magic into your characters without just dipping into a casting class? And if you want to level up your 5e game, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. I've been Paul, and we'll see you next time at the Forge.